Welcome to the Hot Chicks Write Hot Books podcast with Jen Foster and Melanie Johnson, where authors give you their inside secret tips on how to be a successful best-selling author. Hey, it's Melanie Johnson and Jen Foster. We are here at Hot Chicks Write Hot Books, and we have a hot guy that is a 10-time #1 best-selling international author, and he is a publisher. So we're going to dive deep into what does it take to write a book, what are some strategies to get that content out that's not painful, and get your book on Amazon, all those other platforms to become a #1 bestseller. Trevor Crane has super energy. We are pleased to have him. He's a consultant. He helps businesses make millions of dollars. So let's get started. Trevor, thanks so much for joining us today on Hot Chicks Write Hot Books.
I'm excited to be here, and I don't know what you're going to capture here on video, but I'm trying to Facebook Live while we're doing this because I know we're going to have a lot of fun. I got two hot chicks. I had to show up. This is my pinkness for you ladies.
I love your pink shirt, and I want to remind everyone, I forgot in the beginning to make sure, because this pink shirt is so hot, that we want to make sure you share this podcast with everyone. Like it, tell your friends about it, leave us a comment. We would really enjoy that. And hey, if you want to get your book written, please contact us at Elite Online Publishing. We also do book writing retreats at this fabulous villa. So we're going to get started. So Trevor, besides having, I could have a whole conversation just about your shirt because it's so fun. I love that shirt.
Wow.
But let's get into, tell us a little bit how you started to your first book, how you got into writing your book, and how you started to publish books for other people.
Okay. So I failed writing my book for over 20 years. I first thought I was traveling when I was 20. And I was writing letters. This is pre-internet. Al Gore hadn't created the internet at that point. And so when I was in my 20s, I was abroad, and I was in Australia or Europe and with a backpack. And I met people. I was alone, but I'd never been less alone in my entire life. And I would write letters and keep a journal, and I'd send them to friends and family. I don't know if you remember back in the day when we sent letters, but I did that.
And
you remember that, Jen?
Yeah, I remember.
So I did all that, and I had friends say that were jealous. I mean, not a lot of people had traveled at that stage. I mean, not a lot of Americans traveled. Not a lot of Americans have passports. And so my friends would say, you know, you're a good writer. And I'd say funny things, and they would say, you should write that book. So I had the idea of a backpack and a smile. And I never wrote that book. And then I started to do things a little more professional, and I had a water sports business, and that was a lot of fun. I wish I could pull down a picture on my wall right up here that you guys should see, where I did parasailing and wave runners, and I'm a scuba instructor. And I had the idea for a book. I stole it from a friend of mine, called The Beach. $1 is not a tip, and the beach is not an ashtray. I did not write that book. And then I made my first million, or I made a lot of money when I was in a environmental protection business, was another thing I took on, and I was going to write a book about that. And I kept thinking, I didn't ever understand the whole process. It's not like I didn't take action. I wasted a lot of time thinking I was working on my book and just not getting it done. And it was on my New Year's resolutions when I started to become successful. I would say, I'm going to write a book, and that's what I'm going to do this year. And year after year went by, and I was just so disgusted with my own waste of time and breaking my own word on things. And when I got more successful in business, I was too busy, and it takes too long and too hard to write a book. And so I didn't do it then. Then I filed a bankruptcy. And when the woman I was in love with left me and took our 2-year-old daughter and left me, and I was homeless, I thought, well, who would ever want to listen to anything I have to say ever again? Like I didn't feel all that confident to write a book. And so I just struggled with it for so long. What actually pushed me over the edge was just being so pissed off and frustrated and disgusted with myself. And, you know, one of our mutual friends and mentors is Mike Koenigs, and I heard his story about how he struggled with cancer. And I share a story a lot from I was so inspired by him sharing how he told his story into his phone. and he wrote his first book and became a bestseller and made 7 figures. And I just thought, you know what? I need to stop trying to do it myself, failing to do it myself. I need to figure this out. And I hired Mike, and I looked at his publishing team, and I just became obsessed with it, because I know when Larry King interviews someone, he's like, #1 best-selling author, boom, founder of boom, creator of boom. And if I didn't create Nike, he was going to start with best-selling author. So I figured there's got to be a way, and I made it a passion, and I just figured it out. And I'm just too dumb to do it on my own, apparently. I needed a team. I needed a publishing team. I needed help. I decided in a really, I was all like, I finally figured it out. I was like, honey, I told my wife, I'm going to write best-selling books. You're going to have one. All of our clients are going to have one. Even our daughter's going to be a best-selling author. We'll be international best-selling authors, and our business will take off. It'll be amazing. It'll take off. And we got into a great big fight on a Saturday because she's like, don't put that on me. Because she wanted to write a book for a long time and had never done it. And so I have big dreams and I have big ideas. And she was like, don't you do that to me. So anyway, years later, now we're publishing a lot of books. And with our team, we've published hundreds, if not thousands of books. And my daughter's now a 9-time best-selling author. I brought props, ladies. So I'm going to brag about my daughter's books.
Yeah,
it's another one of the books.
Look at those covers. They're very professional. I love the 3 Ninja Kitties. I've read that one. I have that one.
Well, my daughter wrote her first book when she was 7, and we made it a best-selling book. And I now have a publishing company that helps business owners, doctors, speakers, coaches, consultants get their book done fast. The posters behind me are all what I teach. I teach how to write a great book fast. What's right behind my head is the marketing and turning it into your most powerful marketing tool, one of my favorites. And then this other one with the funnel is just how do you make money with a book? And I love celebrating every phase of the book process so that people can leverage it into their results. That's a long answer, but I figured it'd give us time to dance.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff you said. So I love what you said about, hearing someone else's vulnerable story that got you to take action. Because I think that happens to all of us. We're all like, why should we write a book? I don't have anything to say. Who's going to really want to listen to what I have to say, right? And I think we have to get that vulnerability out to say, okay, I'm going to do it. And then the second thing you talked about, which was you can't do it all yourself. You got to have a team. And once you had that team and you hired that person, those people to help you, it was easy, right? I mean, I'm sure it's not easy, but you know what I mean? You have the steps, you have the process, and now you can get your book done. And I think I run across so many people that are, well, I have 4 books I've written, but none of them are published. And it's just like, oh, well, what? And they even have the manuscripts. I mean, they've done all of it, but they just have the editing left, or they just have, they just have to take that big dive, right? That entrepreneurs have to do all the time, which is dive. You have to jump off the bridge, right? And if you don't, then you're never going to have your book published. So I think it's awesome what you said about the team. You had to have that team help you.
It's important to have a team versus I think people get stopped. I don't know how to load my book up. I don't know how to do the editor. So why do you think it's important for someone, instead of trying to do it on their own, to get a publishing team to help them self-publish?
Well, what Jen just said was being inspired by someone's vulnerability story. I think what moves us into action is either inspiration or desperation. And for some reason, I have to have both in my life. Why have a team, Melanie? Well, I give a frame of reference around books like a house. So I use this all the time. And if most everybody watching this right now lives in a house or an apartment, something like that. And I'm assuming that most of you have not built that with your own 2 hands. And if you're going to go ahead and build a new house, you could go down to Home Depot and buy some lumber and go into your backyard when maybe you have a hammer already, or you'd buy one and you'd get some nails and you'd start nailing stuff together. And I think that that's what I did when I was writing my books. I got frustrated and I'm like, I want to build this amazing book or story. And I want to finally get out of my own way, Jen, of like all the BS of I'm not good enough. What am I going to write about? Who would care about me? Where do I find the time? How do I do this? Yeah, all that stuff. And we're like, that's it. I'm going to start writing. I'll pull out my journal, which I'm taking notes in right now. And I'm going to start. And that's what I did for 20 years and didn't get it done. Or like you said, Jen, have a manuscript and then not finish it. And we analyze, oh my gosh, did I write down the right word? Is my cover right? How do I publish it? How do I position it? There's all these questions. And if you were building your house in your backyard, your dream house, you're not going to build your dream house in your backyard. You first have to get a blueprint of your dream house. Now you can build a dog house in your backyard. You can build a bird house in your backyard. You can write your manuscript yourself and you can probably get it done. And you can take you freaking years to struggle through all of the little things that you could just get some help and they're just done. Like most of us pay for we pay for a mechanic to fix our car. You know, we don't go fix it ourselves. Most of us will pay we pay for services all the time. And a house typically takes an architect to build the blueprint. You don't just put it on a sticky tab or write your note. You don't do that. You would hire a general contractor to build the house, and he or she wouldn't build the whole house. They'd have a team of people come in, an electrician to do the electrical, a plumber to do the plumbing, the faux painter to do the faux painting. And if you did it out of sequence, if you hired the faux painter and they're trying to hang the countertops before you've dug the foundation of your house, it's confusing. Those people would show up and be like, well, there's no place to put these countertops. And I know you want these amazing ceiling fans, but there's no ceiling to put them on yet. So if you go about it without help, none of these things are overly complicated. A book is words on a page, but there is a sequence to building a house and there's a sequence to building a book. And most people are lying to themselves and they're buying into all these BS myths that you have to do it yourself. It's my book. It must be my words. I need to do it all. Really? Because if you had a blueprint guy, an architect that also said, well, I do the roofing, I do the plumbing, I do the concrete work, I can paint, I can do it all. It's like, really? You know, is that ideally what you want, to have one person do all of those things? It just doesn't make sense. So I like that as an analogy. And if you have a team, they all do their part. And now you get to do what you do best. And that's unique for everyone. So you need a different type of team. For every book you write has a different strategy on how it gets done and these are all my daughter's books. You see that? Maybe there's one of mine in there. But every one of these was done differently because they had a different outcome. And every house is different, right? You have a 2-family home, and then you have a 1-family home, and you have a 5-bedroom home, and you have a 1-bedroom home, and then you have an apartment, you know, and then you've got a hotel, and you've got the Taj Mahal, and you've got an outhouse. And an outhouse is a very important building in the right circumstances. So none of these are like, there's not a better or a worse. It's what's next. And a team helps you pick and get the frickin' thing done. And if people try to do it on their own, they're screwed, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the money. All right. That's what everyone's interested. Do I make money with my book? So I'm looking behind you and I see that funnel on the poster. So that's, I think, the big question. Okay, I'm going to write this book. How do I make money? Will my book sales make me a bunch of money? So talk about your strategies to get that funnel for them to monetize their book, and not through book sales. That's where everyone thinks they're going to make it through book sales. But as we both know, it's something different. So walk us through your monetizing your book with that great funnel you got back there.
Okay, so there's 3 parts to what I teach: write, market, monetize. I'm a big dumb guy. I have to break it down into simple words. I'm like, write a book. I can get it. Market a book. That was the center poster. And then make money with a book. The money side is also code for mission. It's really the result that I'm looking for. So what I help people with when I help people write their books is typically I tell them to stop the writing process, the physical writing process. I use that example of the house, and I help them get clear about that one right here. And sometimes that's mission, legacy, make a difference. But let's face it, if you don't make money with your book, you know, Jen, you said that you have people coming to you with 4 books, crying about how they don't know how to leverage them. Most people write books without being considerate of the final chapter here, Melanie, like you just asked. So in fact, I wanted to write a book. I've written several books about writing books, and I wanted to include all of that junk behind my head in the book. And it didn't make sense because it was too much content, in my opinion. And I wanted it all in one book because I see it all as one thing. And the way I help people write the book is I start off with that first question, Melanie, which is, what's your purpose behind it? What do you want it to do for you? If it's a house, what do you want to do in that house? Do you want to just go to the bathroom? Because that's the outhouse. It's an important thing. You know, if you only have so much room and you need one of those because you own a campground, you need an outhouse, and that's important, you know. But most of us want to grow our business with a book. Even my daughter can grow a business with a book. And what I did is instead of writing one book with all that content, I just came out with 2 new books, and I'm holding up a piece of paper of the covers instead of the book, because they're not done yet. Well, actually they're done, but I'm waiting for the physical copy to be sent to me, because instead of worrying about writing the book, I sold it and I made money with them first. So what I'm showing you are 2 of my new books that came out, and I got clear about, Melanie, your question. This book is called Big Money with Your Book, and the small print says, without selling a single copy. And this is where I start with people, and I believe everybody watching this right now can benefit from what I'm about to say and go out and make money with your book and truly be working like a millionaire or billionaire working on your book, using the most powerful marketing you can in the world and build your end result. And let's say that that's to make a difference and help other people. Then God bless you, do it, and you can get paid in the process, because all money is an exchange of value. If you add more value, you get some money. So figure out what the purpose is behind your book first. So for me, Melanie, I help people with that. And I said, you can make big money with a book. And the little hint here is that you get clear about that today, that's why you want to share your book with people. And you want to share because you want to make a bigger difference in all of that. Let's keep that spiritual, connected, give, heart-centered place. Let's say that that's going to happen. Then what you do is you decide what are the products and services you sell behind your book. And you start off with what I start all my clients with, is that blueprint or foundation of your plan. So you understand with clarity how you're going to make money before you write a word of your book. And as soon as you have clarity about a plan, and it is important to have clarity, because if you're incongruent, you're like, you're going to be this liar. You're going to be lying inside, and it's not going to feel good. So if you have a blueprint first, you can then go out, and here's the hint, is you tell the world, I'm writing a book. It's the declaration phase. You say, I just got off the phone with a publisher. I just watched a podcast, and Trevor and Jen and Melanie want to publish my book. They said they want to publish my book, and you post it on Facebook. You post it, you send an email, you tell the world, you call your mom and you say, I'm writing a book about blank, and you fill it in.
Yep, declaration. Love that.
The declaration. It's the bottom step on my poster. You make the declaration, I'm doing it. And then you share it with other people instead of, Jen, don't tell anybody. I have 4 books on manuscript. I haven't told anybody about it yet.
Right.
But they've got it all done. They've got 18,000 words. And you're like, oh my God. And who have you told? And they're like, well, no one. What the frickin' monkeys, uncle? It drives me crazy. My clients, when they get clarity, go out and they declare the same day, the same hour. When I teach this, when I'm sharing it, I challenge you to pull out your phone and tell the world right now you're writing a book. Tell them right now you're writing a book about blank subject, about the 3 Ninja Kitties, about Kitty Wars, about books, about whatever it is that you do best. And you put it out there. You declare it to the world, just like Apple does. We're going to come out with a new phone. Really? Like you're modeling multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar companies who tell the world what's coming first. And then you engage your audience. You say, hey, what do you think? Should it be called Sexy Chicks Write Sexy Books? Or should it be called Hot Chicks Write Hot Books? Or should it be called Books? Or should it be called whatever? This engagement process helps you get attention and build your audience. And it is marketing, which is nothing but communication. And then you do need to know what you're selling, like what comes next. Because just talking to them about it makes you feel good, but who needs the pat on the back? I mean, I like it. You know, you're welcome to throw compliments at me. I'll take them. But the next step is understanding the products and services that it leads to. Most people think, I need to write a book, so I've got to charge $10 per copy, and I got to make a profit from them, and I need a traditional publisher to help me. And if you're going to go ahead and put your nose down and all you're going to do is write your book and try to sell it to a traditional publisher, good effing luck making money with your book.
Yeah, I think that's huge what you just said. So besides the blueprint, I mean, that's the hugest thing you said. You got to have a plan. You got to have a purpose behind your book. How are you going to make money with it? What is the blueprint? What is the plan? And the second thing that you just said, which is the writing in the book, you're like, okay, I'm going to write my book and I'm going to make, how much am I going to make? I think that's what a lot of our clients will come to us and say, well, how much do I make on the book? Is it $1, $2? And we're just like, what? That's not important, right? They're so worried about that $2 or 30 cents or however much they're going to make. And they don't understand the purpose, right? What is the purpose of your book? Why are you writing it? I think that's huge, all that you just said.
Jen, can I mention something else? I know I'm dominating now, but since you guys are interviewing me, I'll give you my time, my 2 cents.
You're supposed to dominate. That's why we have you here, is to be the hot guy dominating the hot chicks. Wait, that didn't come out right at all.
That's right. Well, I'll start to dominate. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the tale of 2 clients.
Okay.
One of them came to me, and he's already published he's already written his book. He got a deal with a major publisher, and he was very proud of himself because he got a paycheck. Now, that was about 16 months ago, and he worked for the Bush administration. He's done some amazing things. He's in politics. He went over to Iraq and did some amazing things. And he had his book written, and it's a thick book. It's 200-300 pages. This book is done. It's been done since he signed a deal with his publisher. Like is his memoirs of this amazing communication journey he went on. And he got paid less than $2,000 as a book advance on this. And now the publisher owns the rights to his book. And he approached me because he needs some help with it, because there's a misconception that publishers will help you make money with your book and market it and everything else. And they don't. Right. And might be they did write him a check and he felt good about it. But it's been 14 months when he first hired me. He's been working with me for a month or 2 now. He hired me to help him get him a #1 bestseller. He hired me to help him with his marketing and media. He doesn't even have his website inside of his book. He'll get paid less than $1 in commissions on his book. He's out of control. He doesn't like the cover of his book and he can't change it. He doesn't own it anymore. He's confused in his marketing and branding, and that's one person. Now, another lady is a client of mine. She works with my wife. My wife works with women only, so female entrepreneurs. And she already knows what she's selling. She has clarity around her products and services. She has a system to sell, and she's good at it. And she approached me and she said, how should I do my book? And so I gave her my strategic planning session, the blueprint, and I got her clear on it. And I helped her feel congruent around the declaration phase of her book, and that engagement would be helping her write her book. And there's other things I could talk about that, but here's what she did. She made 2 Facebook posts, and then she got hundreds of people who said, oh my gosh, that's amazing that you're writing a book. She doesn't have a title. She doesn't have a cover. She's not really sure what's going to go in the book yet, because that's her engagement. That's the reason why she's engaging with her audience. Well, she did make $15,000 in the month of February on the follow-up she had from all of that in 2 Facebook posts.
Wow.
$15,000. So now, which would you rather have? Would you rather spend a year and a half? This is for everybody listening right now. Would you rather spend a year and a half with a book that's written, not having any idea when it's going to come out. And yeah, you got a signing bonus. Let's say it's $2,000 or less than $2,000. You're like, woohoo, I got a signing bonus. And then you have no control. You won't make any profits on the future of your book because you make $1 or less. He can't adjust the price internationally, locally, because he does not own his product anymore. Or would you rather be like Lisa, who gets clear about her plan and has a team of people to support her in every phase, and she goes out and does one thing and then closes $15,000 worth of new business selling products and services to people who want her value. And she has a system to go ahead and help them. So you tell me which you would like. I know which one I want. I know which one I want to support. My first book that came out, instead of it's write a book, turn it into a marketing tool, I started with what you said, Melanie. Everybody wants to know how to make big money with a book without selling a single copy. Start today, everybody. Declare to the world that you're going to write a book. Feel congruent that you can. And then when you get feedback, I have Beth Lowe is a new client of mine. I'm mentioning women, trying to connect with you ladies. And I work with a lot of women because I wear pink. And I'm so proud. Beth went out and gave my advice in less than 8 hours. She had 300 comments on a Facebook post celebrating the fact that she's going to give her personal story. She's a realtor, but she's going to leverage her energy and attention that she gets from the book into her money-making activities. Mm-hmm. And she's gone through some challenging times herself. Her husband was a drug addict. He ended up dying. There was a combination of horrible things that happened to her. She was left penniless and broke and all this. And she's now built back a very respectful business. And she's going to leverage her personal story into her business. And now that she has clarity, she's on fire. And again, and Melanie, what she was going to do before she talked to me was, shh, don't tell anybody. She was going to go, the only time she had to write her book, because it's going to take so much time and so hard to do, was at 10 o'clock at night. She was going to drive to her office because that was the only time she had free. And between 10 and midnight, she was going to quietly write her book. Don't tell anybody. And start writing her book. And she figured if she does that for the next 6 to 8 months, she could finally get her book done. And I was like, woman, are you asking for my advice? I'm like, why don't we do it differently? And so she's at, and I don't know how much feedback she's had in the last 4 days, but I'm helping her leverage all of that attention into business and making money. Again, I'm ranting on, but I think who would you rather be? Someone who leverages the power of this and gets your mission and purpose now, or someone who goes into the drawing room and goes into creativity? And this is tough for challenging. This is tough for intelligent, creative people who care about others. If you are in the service, if you serve other people and you care about them and you want to give your greatness, you may be thinking you have to make it perfect first. Get out of your own way. Yeah. Give yourself permission to talk to other humans about your passion, and you can light them up.
All right, real quick, we are almost running out of time, but you're telling that she was going to go at 10 o'clock at night and try and hammer this out. Give us a strategy for someone to create content really fast. They know their business, they know their mission. How can they bang out content that they, like you say, don't have to be perfect. Let's get the mission out there. Give us a strategy.
So I've used this 100,000 million billion times, if you can count that high. This is really easy. It's 3 steps. So I'm going to give you 7 steps. The first one was strategy. Strategy is first. So if that's handled, we just did that. You know why you're doing it, and you kind of have a plan to get it done. So now let me give you the fast write a book stuff. You need a structure of writing a book. So that's your outline. Just look what the table of contents is, and you work that out with people. You say, hey guys, what do you think? Hey ladies, what do you think? Should it be this, that, or the other thing? A story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, a book has 8 to 12 chapters. So it's not that complex. And you tell a story per chapter. But that's your basic outline. You could come up with that in 5 minutes. I bet you if everybody took a challenge right now and just, what's a basic outline of what you know, give it a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you truly gave yourself 5 minutes, you would have an outline. And that frames all the content that could go in. What I suggest you do next are the stories. You pick 1 story per chapter or something. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you don't start with story. Everybody starts off with, right? So those are the first 3 foundational steps. Strategy first, structure next, your outline. Your stories last, not first. So this is the opposite of what a lot of people will tell you. Now, I think in order to write a book fast, Melanie, you set a date. These are all S words, by the way.
Yeah.
So you set a date. You're like, baby, I'm going to get it done in 3 months and 6 months and 2 months and whatever. You set a date. Steve Jobs called it a shipping date. When are you going to deliver? Now, I could go into more depth on that, but let's just say that's it. I'm declaring to the world, I'm going to get it done by July 4th. And you can get it done by then. Now, how do you write it? Because that was all pregame, right? And you need the pregame. You need that blueprint so you feel congruent, or you're going to be incongruent. You'll just say, July 4th, and you're never going to keep that promise because you're scared to death. That's why it's strategy, structure, story, then set a date. Now, the real tip here, Melanie, I know you said fast, so I'll do this in less than 20 seconds. Speak, scribe, source. These are the only possible ways to get a book done. Speak it out.
Yep.
Mentioned Mike Koenig's did. He's one of our friends and mentors. He talked it into his phone. My daughter did it, and she turned, we transcribed, that's the second part, her spoken word into the written word. She didn't do it. She hired someone on Fiverr. I made my 7-year-old daughter go on Fiverr and hire someone that could transcribe the audio recording. And then it's speak, scribe, source. Sourcing was getting help. And those are the only 3 ways. You can hire a ghostwriter. You can do a lot of things. But if you do that, you're gold.
Love it. Where can people find you?
Yes.
Go to trevorcraneisawesome.com. No, go to trevorcrane.com. Go to trevorcrane.com. And I always give away a free gift. If you go to trevorcrane.com/free book, I'll give you one of my books for free and hook you up.
Perfect.
I'm going there. I want one of the books.
Yeah, we're going there. And we're also going to be interviewing you at our other podcast, Elite Expert Insider, so people can check you out there as well.
And there we're going to tell you how you can make millions. All right. So thanks so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Remember to share and like this podcast and pass it on to your friends. Leave us a message. And if you are looking for a book, you can call Trevor if you need a team, or call us at Elite Online Publishing. And we are happy to publish your book and help you leverage your book and make money with your book, not through book sales, but through your business. We'll see you next time.
Today's episode is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, the brand building publisher. They help you write, sell, and market your book online. Check them out at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Also by Book Writing Retreats. Spend 6 days at the beach and have your book written by the time you get home. Check out bookwritingretreats.com and find your way to the beach to write your book.